Hello, so in last video we saw how can we implement SCD type 2 strategy using IICS mapping. Now in this video we are going to utilize same dataset. However, instead of implementing SCD type 2, we'll see how can we implement SCD type 3 strategy. Now before we start creating the actual mapping, let's understand our dataset and also the difference between type 2 and type 3 strategy. Okay, so as we discussed in last video, my source table is employees table. It's a transactional table and there are 7 columns: employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, salary, and creation date, updation date. Here the employee ID is defined as a primary key in our source table. That means I will have only one record for a particular employee ID. There will not be duplicates for employee ID. Now as we saw in last video, for type 2, the reason we implement type 2 is it will maintain the history of our dimensional attribute changes in our dimensional attribute. For example, very initially when this record got created on 1st of Jan 2020, as you can see here, my initial salary was $3,000. Now over a period of time, let's say on 2nd of Feb 2021, that salary got changed from $3,000 to $6,000. Now when it came for type 1 implementation, we would have updated the same record, right? But in case of type 2, instead of updating the same record, same old record of $3,000, we created an additional record. Okay. Similarly, when that salary got changed from $5,000 to $6,000, we created additional entry. Okay. However, now the need for that type 2 implementation is because of this. Since we are maintaining the history, we can identify, our business user can identify over a period of time for a particular employee how and when that salary got changed. As you can see here, based on this start date and end date, effective start date and effective end date, we can now say the $3,000 salary for this employee was between 1st Jan 2020 to 1st Feb 2021. Again, the salary got changed to $5,000 since 2nd Feb 2021 to 29th March 2021. And the current salary based on this latest record flag, current salary for that particular employee is $6,000. Alright. Now, what is the difference between type 2 and type 3 now? So, as you can see here, for type 3, the granularity is definitely different. So in case of type 2, we are maintaining the history in different rows, whereas in type 3 we don't maintain history in different rows. Instead, we maintain only one instance of the history in a separate column. So instead of creating additional row, we'll be keeping the latest instance of that history in a column. Alright, so granularity of our type 3 is same as type 1 and which is same as OLTP. So employee ID, which is a business key, will still be unique when it comes to type 3 implementation. Okay, now if we compare the dimension table of our type 2 versus type 3, there will be a extra column called previous salary. Okay, so let's assume for the sake of this video we'll be interested in finding out or implementing type 3 dimension strategy just for a salary column. Okay, so that's the reason why we'll create an additional column called prior salary. Now these effective start date, effective end date, latest record flag, these 3 columns are not required. Okay, but we are not going to drop those columns. We'll keep those columns as is. We'll add additional column. So what I have done is, instead of updating the existing dimension table, I have created a new dimension table. Okay, and in that dimension table, for this new dimension table, except previous salary, rest all columns are same. So this is the only additional column which we have added. Alright, so I have already created this table. Let me just truncate just to make sure there are no records in my, so it's empty. Alright, now instead of creating a new mapping again, what we'll do is, since most of the logic is same and even the source and target columns, target tables are same, I will be modifying the existing mapping which we saw in prior videos. So if I go back, so this was the mapping which we created for type 2 implementation. What I will do is I'll just make a copy of it, copy 2, keep both, and let me rename this. So instead of type 2, I'll name it as type 3. Perfect. I will save it. Now again we have changed the dimension table, so we'll have to use that new dimension table. So let me copy that. So what all places we need to use that dimension table? Definitely at target, but also at lookup. Okay, so let me just minimize. First let me modify at lookup. Now again here, so the reason why we implemented this lookup override was we need to added this latest record flag, right? Because there were duplicate entries for employee ID or business key. Now for type 3, it will be unique, same as what we have in OLTV or transactional table. So we don't need this lookup override. Instead, what I will use single object. Perfect. So far so good. Now let me go ahead and change my target as well. Now when it comes to target, we had 3 instances of it. This is total new insert. If record doesn't exist at all in dimension table, we'll have to use this instance. Second instance is if record exists in dimension table, we are going to update that record. We need this instance as well. Right? And here the third instance is if record exists in dimension table, go ahead and if there is a change in other attributes, you go ahead and insert another record. Now this one we don't need for type 3 because we are not going to create additional entries. I'll just delete it. Now what we need, so let me go and check my dimension insert first. So this insert is correct. Let me go ahead and find the field mapping. So when record doesn't exist at all in dimension table, there won't be a surrogate key coming from my lookup. So this is empty because it's identity column and it will get created automatically. So I don't need to map that. I will just map employee ID, first name, last name, email, phone number, salary. Now we have to note we can't map that to previous salary port, right? Because that would be null when the new record gets inserted. So I will leave this as is. We don't need to map anything. These are not required for type 3. I will just save it. And let's go ahead and validate our existing record. So what all things we need to update in the existing record? Just the salary, previous salary, right? So on what basis we are going to update that? We are going to update that based on this employee key, right? Surrogate key, because that record already exists. And this surrogate key will come from our lookup. So let me go to field mapping and I will be getting that from my lookup. So I will just map that. Now the prior salary. So I can't use this salary over here. Reason being, this is the latest salary. Alright, I can't use that. What I would need is I need the existing salary. From where I will get the existing salary? I'm doing the lookup on the dimension table. Okay, so the salary should come from my dimension table. If the record exists, that salary will be there and I have to utilize that salary and map to previous salary port. Now in this case, I don't have that port, salary port. What I have is just this employee ID and employee key. Okay, so let me just first get that salary from dimension table. What I will do is let me go to this port Now this port is connected to, now this expression is connected to this lookup, right? So I will go here. So I will definitely have that salary to this expression. What I will do is I will create a new port. Let's say O underscore EMP or EMP dim salary, right? It's a decimal, and that would be this salary. Remaining all ports are coming from source and these ports are coming from the lookup. Perfect. I will save it. And in the next port, I'm basically filtering out the extra additional column. So let me go ahead and just add that additional column which we created just now. Where is that? Dim EMP dimension salary. Perfect. Now we have that salary coming from our dimension table, and I will utilize that in the target field map basically. And let me validate. Where is, yeah, this is the one. And I will tag that as a previous salary. Let me save it. Let me go ahead and see my incremental load. So it doesn't give me any record. So let me just update, right? Perfect. So in my dimension table, there are no records. Okay. So basically, if I run the mapping, it should insert 107 records in the dimension table. So let's validate that. Let me go ahead and run it. Let me just quickly validate once again. So I mapped this. I mapped this. This is all looks good. Okay, let me just validate this. Marked for insert. Field mapping is also correct, right? Run. Run. So if everything is correct, it should insert 107 records in my dimension table. Perfect. Let's validate. Yeah, there are 107 records in my dimension table. Now let's validate my particular entry. Okay, so now as I said, my salary is $5,000. Now let me modify that $5,000 to $6,000. My source qualifier query will give one record, that is $6,000. Now if I run that mapping, ideally if everything is correct, this $5,000 should get tagged to my previous salary column, and $6,000 should come over here. Let's find out. Next, run. Correct. Let's see. Something is wrong. The same $5,000 got tagged to my salary. So something is wrong in my insert. This is correct. This is correct. Why it would? Let me just change that. It did not add the $6,000. Okay. So now I should have this $6,000 here. Let's see. What I will do is, let me run this preview. It will not go in insert, it will go in update. So something is wrong with my update only. Field mapping. Oh, EMP dim salary. This is correct, but it is not updating it. Let me just preview, run preview. Preview. It got, ideally this should have latest salary. Oh, okay, I got what I did wrong. I got what I did. I should have connected that salary as well. When it updates, it will update prior as well as current salary. That's where I missed it. Okay, I don't need to run this. I got it. So let me go here, field mapping, and I just updated prior salary. Ideally, I should update even this salary, right? Correct. So new salary and even the prior salary coming from dimension table, both I need to update. Let's run it now. So my latest salary is 6,000. So this should have $6,000 now, and this is $5,000. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Perfect. Now if I change this to 6,000 to 7,000, this 6,000 should come as a prior salary and $7,000 should tagged as current salary. So let's see. Okay. So this 6,000 should come here and 7,000 should come here. Perfect. Let's run it for last time. Let's say 8,000. So current salary should be 8,000 and prior salary should be 7,000. Let's rename it. So current salary has to be 8,000 and prior salary is 7,000. Alright. So this way now we successfully implemented SCD Type 3 strategy using IICS mapping. Thanks for watching this video and see you in the next video.